Meeting of the North Syracuse Central School District Board of Education to order. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United Republic for which it stands, God, indivisible. Thank you. I'd like to observe a moment of silence for the following. Blaise Salerno, former superintendent of the North Syracuse Central School District. Thomas Gary Brunet, a graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District. Kathy Bentley, a graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District. Michael Costa, a graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District. Harry Gallup, a graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District. Ellen Finley, a retiree of the North Syracuse Central School. Retiree of the North Syracuse Central School. Thank you. Yes.
Fortunately, I knew some of these people. I want to start first with Gail Tacko. I know, Dan, I believe you were principal at the time, probably when she was the teacher. She started at Reardon on Malloy Road, used to be an elementary school. Again, foundation of this district. Helen Finley taught at the building where I was, third grade, as Cicero Al, and again, a dedicated teacher that a lot of us followed. But if you remember last week, I talked about Mr. Salerno, and at that time he was in comfort care. Blaise Salerno was superintendent when I was a teacher in this school district from 1979 to 1983, or excuse me, 85. Started as a social studies teacher when North Syracuse Junior High was a high school. And what I remember about Blaise, he again was dedicated to the students, worked with a board that was a little difficult. But he is the person that we had two high schools, and under his leadership, we went to one high school. So our district changed back then. So the calling hours will be this weekend in Syracuse, and I know there'll be a lot of people there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Crabtree. Okay, we're going to begin with the Math League recognition, and I'm going to ask Mr. Scholes to come up, and you're going to take it from there.
So Ms. Herrera says that I've been a little bit of a regular here as I've recognized some math performers. But as I noticed Thomas on the board and recognized that we have a high school math league, we had 6 different participants, and you see their families and them in the audience today, who actually got an opportunity to make the all Onondaga team that went down to Owego, New York in about the second week in April and competed against all of the different counties and county areas in Owego in all of New York State. And as I talked to a couple of them, the problems that they tried to do were extremely difficult and extremely challenging, but these are some of the real amazing math minds that we have in our district. And I really want to applaud Stella Germain, who is our math league advisor as well. She does a really great job with these students, works with them. She also teaches some honors classes, so a lot of them have her as a student at one point in time. And so she's been great with all this. But if I could call up these students, and I'll have President Farfalia and Superintendent Bowles present the certificates to them. So we'll, because, you know, all of you guys are kind of, as a group, I'll just kind of call your names and have you guys come up. Ashton Murdoch, Leo Wynn, Thomas Wills, Aiden Hannes, Zachary Hoffman, and Sam Budaharo. Guys, I'll have you all stand up here, and Ms. Herrera will take our picture.
Okay, next we have the Optimus Oratorical Contest finalists. Each year, the Optimus International Oratorical Competitions are held. Contest is open to contestants under the age of 19 and as of October 1st, under the age of 19 as of October 1st, who have not yet completed secondary school. Topic for the 2023-2024 school year is how to change the world with optimism. Forward to hearing this. First conducted in 1928, nearly 2,000 clubs participate in this program each year. Districts have the opportunity to provide a first place scholarship of $2,500, a second place scholarship of $1,500, and a third place scholarship of $1,000. Sponsoring club is the Cicero North Syracuse Optimist Club, and Vice President Libby Thomas will introduce the top 3 Cicero North Syracuse student finalists to deliver their speeches. Or to do that,
Maybe.
Takes a while. Okay, that's a little bit better. All right. Definitely want them to have the microphone because what they're going to read for you with the theme that we had this year is an inspirational. And our contestants, so to speak, did such an amazing job with the other 10 contestants in the district competition in New Hartford, and you would have been very proud of everything that they did there that day. So it's my honor to first introduce to you Hanifa Wahab, our third place winner.
Hello, my name is Hanifa Wahab, and I'm a senior at the high school. I'm majoring in biomedical science at RIT next year for the next 4 years, so very excited for that. And this is my speech. How to change the world with optimism. I find the concept of Earth intimidating, daunting, a menace. The planet we call home has a circumference of 24,901 miles. Comparing these numbers to your regular neighborhood is astronomical. And then to consider that one person can influence over 7 billion people seems unfeasible. Or is it? Just like how we learn to read or how a baby starts to learn how to walk, it takes one step at a time. One step at a time. It takes time and effort to make a difference. We as a country didn't go from squalor to prosperity within a matter of days, but instead with hundreds of years. And nonetheless, these years were far from smooth sailing. Years of disputes and wars to get to where we are today. It takes time to understand how to grow, to understand ourselves, to understand what we want to see change within the world, to understand what we stand for and take actions for our beliefs. But then again, nothing that is worthy of fighting for takes 30 minutes. Fighting for justice and equality doesn't take a simple argument, but instead it takes rallies, protests, boycotts. It takes people from all over our home to come together and continue to push for a better future. But these ideas and events don't spawn from thin air. It takes just one person to take action. It takes one person to understand who they are and act upon what they know is right for not only themselves, but for humanity. Just like with optimism, we want to see the world change, we act upon it. We want to have to change for the better, to wake up the next morning and see a brighter future for us, our next generation, our future families. I want to change the world for the better. I will act upon my beliefs. I consider myself an optimist because I understand the time and effort it takes in order to see life the way an optimist does, in a way where we are able to take ownership of mistakes and change our actions in the future. When becoming an optimist, it is not the journey that one might think it is. Becoming an optimist is a challenge in and of itself, as it is not just believing that everything is joyful, but it is instead a mindset that we as a population can learn in order to unify as one. From one person to another, optimism will spread. Just like how one can spread kindness, we can spread optimism between each other. We as humans are sponges when it comes to learning. We soak up what we connect ourselves with within our community. As we start to accept optimism and understand what it can do for us, time will take its course, and slowly our self-optimism will spread onto others who will find their own idea of optimism. Surrounding ourselves with people who have that positive mindset and have learned to appreciate optimism will lead our community to a better future, as we have learned what real optimism is, a way to bring ourselves together. Just like how a baby learns to walk, it takes one step at a time. We are the first step. We are the beginning for a better future. We cannot change the world until we understand ourselves, because at the end of the day, it starts with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Hanifa. Really very special, very special. Thank you. Okay, and now it's my pleasure to introduce Liam Byrne, who is our second place winner, and he'll share his with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Liam Byrne. I'm a sophomore and I'm happy to be very much. All right, you can use, you want to use this? I'd rather just use this, if that's all right. How to change the world with optimism. Both history and science have shown us, time and again, that when we act in an optimistic way, we can slowly change the world for better over time. However, when we neglect to approach life in an optimistic manner, or worse still, when we find exercising optimism to be a pointless measure, we struggle to make progress in our lives and are instead left with nothing. On June 17th, 2017, the Japanese Journal of Clinical Oncology published a study around the change in a person's habitual optimism when diagnosed with cancer, as well as the effects optimism could have on a subject's cancer treatments. The study led to a conclusion that patients with high optimism were not only better able to adapt to their treatments and combat their illness, but also less likely to see a decline in habitual optimism as the study went on. Lives were saved by the patient's beliefs that they could survive. When I first told my mother about my plan to participate in this oratorical contest, and that the topic was how optimism could change the world, she laughed. She thought that the idea that simply having a better perspective on how the world operated could change the way the world worked was a ridiculous notion. I remember hearing that and thinking, that's exactly the problem. If people don't see the value in hoping for a better future and in aspiring to take steps towards that change, then we won't make those steps. We won't take those chances. We will stop hoping, and we can never see a brighter future for ourselves and our global community. But first, we need to understand that finding a better tomorrow isn't done through small acts that change the world overnight, but instead through smaller, optimistic efforts that accumulate by the thousands, like grains of sand on a beach. One of the most eloquent examples of small acts of optimism building up is something that many of us do nearly every single day when we simply pick up litter from the ground or even make the conscious decision not to litter ourselves. KeepAmericaBeautiful.org, an organization that works to improve the cleanliness, look, and feel of our communities and environment by reducing litter and pollution, estimates that 10 years ago, nearly 109 billion pieces of trash could have been found on the ground all across America. And that's billion with a B. Today, that number is down 54%, in large part because of the work of volunteers and regular people who had the hope that they could make a difference in their community. Maybe not by themselves, but as a part of a larger collective effort. The efforts taken by many of these volunteers and regular people would extend further than they realized in a kind of butterfly effect. And while initially simply helping to clean litter from the ground doesn't seem like it would change our lives much beyond making our communities more visually appealing, the reduction of pollution can help to keep our planet in better shape for a longer time. And wouldn't it be better if instead of recklessly looking to the stars for an answer to our mishandling of our world, we made the truly optimistic choice to strive to keep our world alive for as long as possible? In addition to ravaging our planet, this pollution that comes from millions of people littering without a second thought has also been connected to diseases as severe as cancer appearing in people by a litany of medical research organizations, and even the Ocean Blue Project, which finds that a reduction in of pollution in the world could see a decrease in the rate at which people get sick and even terminally ill. Our actions, as small as choosing to pick up a piece of trash and put it in our pocket, can have an effect as great as contributing to sparing someone, perhaps someone we know, from being condemned to live with cancer. But when we do not think twice about the decisions we make, we may be contributing in some small part to another human being contracting a horrible sickness. I have an uncle that recently beat cancer in his stomach and colon, and I like to think that little acts of optimism helped to keep him here today. Thank you for your time.
You could stay just until we do the tape. Passion, true passion. Unfortunately, our first place winner, Isabel Bort, is wrapped up in her competition for the golf that she is really flying with right now, before she goes to her college where she received a golf scholarship. So it's my pleasure to introduce Isabel to you.
Good evening. That we use to craft our daily life, that positive outlook on the future, and keeping hope in every endeavor that comes our way. Optimism gives us the chance to broaden our understanding, widen our perspective, and expand the possibilities. An optimistic person thinks that the best possible things will happen in life and hopes for it even if it is not likely. Optimistic individuals don't give up. They continue in spite of what challenges that may come their way. Optimism is this wonderful value that we use more often than we realize to support our friends and family, and most importantly, connect with others when we need to most. Throughout life, we all may experience challenges, obstacles and issues that prevent us from achieving goals, or great fears and worries that hold us back. Having optimism in the picture can help our situations immensely by bringing a sense of hope and light in our life and shifting our outlook. Optimism helps shift our perspective. Perspective is the main idea I would like to address today. The idea that a particular attitude or point of view shifts our mindset and has an overall effect on our mental well-being. Just imagine for a moment the power and potential our world has in terms of strength, and how much better it would be if we lived in a world full of optimistic people, a society filled with individuals with a bright outlook and perspective. What if we lived in a world full of people who shifted their perspectives from the negative to the positive? I was having this exact conversation with a very near and dear friend of mine recently, and she assisted me in creating some positive ways to rephrase some thoughts so that I can use them on the days that I need them the most. I cannot begin to explain the profound impact this has had on my mindset since implementing these positive phrases. For example, instead of saying, "I'm not good enough," maybe you could say, "I don't feel like I'm good enough always, but I know that I am." Or maybe instead of saying, "I don't have any worth," maybe you could say, "I have worth, I just might not always see it." Or instead, maybe you say all the time, "I'm really busy right now." Maybe we could say, "I have so many wonderful opportunities to fill my schedule with. I'm grateful for that." Instead, I can't help but think about what our world would look like if we lived in a world full of optimistic people who knew they were worthy and who were filled with a positive perspective. When I imagine this earth, I imagine the earth shaking with a jolt of possibility from the moment we wake up in the morning to the second we go to bed each night. I imagine the different people, cultures, groups, ideas, arts, governments, sports, and music that would be celebrated and embraced. I imagine the new people we would all be able to meet and connect with, the experiences we would be able to share and learn from one another. I wish people knew that they were more than just a teenager, just an athlete, just an artist, just a student, just a sibling, just a friend. Because the truth is, we are never just anything. We have so much more to offer in so many ways. And the nice part about it is we are all so different in this world. So what we believe is our just is really so much more. Sometimes one word and perspective shift is all we need. What if we went from using the word just to using something like amazing or worthy? The amount of happiness and positivity we would be exuding, and the amount of worthy athletes and amazing artists we would have, instead of people declaring themselves as just with no justification. The possibility of this world makes me want to spread kindness and optimism as much as I can, so we eventually live in a world where optimism is the standard and is normalized, where we want to celebrate it and feel it as much as we can, so we can show the community and togetherness and positivity and optimism all coming together as one. It is also important to, however, to realize that every day is not going to be a good one. You're going to have some bad ones too. I've learned that it's okay not to be okay. You're going to have some bad days. That some days your best might not get you to where you want to be. However, it will get you started on the path to where you want to be. Everything starts somewhere, and every journey begins with a first step. The presence of your optimism is imperative on the bad ones, on the bad days, just as it is on the good days. As I come to a close, I would like you all to think about what makes you special, what makes you who you are, what makes you unique, celebrated, and valued in this world. Embrace it and use it to share your optimism with the people around you. My father always told me input equals output, and it does. If nothing else, always remember you are more than worthy, more than capable, more than a person, and more importantly, more than just.
Thank you. Comments, anybody?
Just want everyone out there and the board to recognize these wonderful students. And I can tell you, when I was in high school, I wouldn't be caught dead standing up in front of all these people. So not only were the speeches phenomenal, but to be able to get up and do this time and time again, to really encourage others about optimism and to prepare that speech, in addition to all the other things that you do, was absolutely amazing. So I want to recognize Hanifa and thank you very much. I appreciate you coming in and doing that speech. And also Liam, recognize you on behalf of the district and the board. Thank you as well.
2 more years.
And I think at this time, if you can come forward and we'll take a group picture. And we'll get this one to Isabel.
And I just want to say thank you again before you go, because I love the topic. It's so, in my opinion, timely for where we are, and you talked a bit about, moving one step at a time, and nothing worthy of fighting takes 30 minutes, I think I heard you say. So it makes me optimistic because we live in such a divided space. I'm not getting political, but it's a divided country. That's obvious. And then when you look back in time, in this country, that's happened over and over again, and we've survived it. So there's a little bit of optimism there. We started with a division. We had a horrible division in the Civil War and kind of floundering in Reconstruction. And so it's good to see that. I'm counting on you. Hopefully I'll stick around long enough to see you guys fix this, okay? Thank you. We have a presentation from the High School Career Center. So Ms. Devers is here. I'm going to just turn it over to you.
Oh, yeah, I don't like to sit and talk. So, okay. Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me, Erin Deaver. I run the Career Center at the high school. Will the clicker work, you think? So I do have a website. If you go to the CNS High School website and click on Career Center, this is where I keep all my information of all kinds of great stuff between scholarships and college visits, military, college fair, any volunteer events, job opportunities, both full-time and part-time. I get a lot of community members that reach out. So anything that I see that's going on that comes across my email or my desk, I post it out there for everyone to see. Every year I put on the annual college and trades fair. It's very well attended. It's just a really great evening for students and parents. I usually have, I don't know, between 80 and 85 colleges and universities. I can only fit so many in the gym, so that kind of limits my number. And we included trades areas a few years ago, started putting the trades areas in. So I usually have 9 or 10 areas represented as well, which has been very good. At that same night, we have the financial aid fact night presentation, which is more the counseling department, but I help them out with that as well. College visits this year, we had about 50 colleges visit the school between September and April. 4 of them did. The new big thing is doing instant admit days. So OCC comes a lot. They have application days. They had they did a registration day for students in April, which was nice. But they also give accepted students, like Niagara University usually will bring in lunch for the students, whether they've agreed to go to the school or not. They do, they invite them to come down. So that's really nice. So we have a lot of a great presence in the building. Along with our military recruiters, every month we have a great presence of military as well. All of the full-time branches, including the part-time Air National Guard, Army National Guard. And they've done some ROTC presentations to our juniors. Some of our teachers are really gracious and allow them to come into their classrooms and speak to the students. Career exploration is one of the top things that I do to help the entire student body, is to try and figure out a path for after high school, sometimes challenging, but I find it very rewarding. One of the career exploration tools that I use is the ASVAB. That is the military test that the recruiters use, but there's a whole nother side to it. There's a career exploration side to it. I've been giving it actually started giving it before I took over the Career Center 13 years ago. I was using it in my classroom as part of a career exploration project. They're wonderful people to work with. I'm so spoiled. They're really great to me. They'll come in whenever I want. I started out only doing it twice a year. Now I'm doing it 4 and 5 times a year because there tends to be student interest. Job shadow programs. I'm really happy to see that since the pandemic, each year they're starting to grow. Usually my normal numbers are around 85 to 90 a year. I'm up to 70. So I'm getting there. Lots of places in the community and even outside of our community have volunteered to help our students, and it's really been wonderful. And this is also a way that I've been able to connect with other companies, learning of other occupations that are out there that are available. And also our trades areas have been really wonderful, very supportive. I've gotten to know a lot of our trades areas and unions and companies who support the trades and hire the trades. I have one young lady who is a welder who is graduating this year. She did a job shadow at JPW companies, and she went back for a second shadow, and she just told me last week that she applied and got hired. So I'm really happy for her. So it's very exciting. I do a lot of one-on-one student consulting appointments. This has become more the norm since the pandemic, and now the kids all have Chromebooks. So I'm doing so many, and I'm even counseling parents as well. I had a wonderful phone call with a parent today. So it's really nice. We talk about, for the most part, about plans for after high school, but you know, all the other things, I also work with their school counselor to help them with college or career readiness. Not everybody's going to be going right into college or university, so I try to help them with other opportunities for tech schools or trade schools or those sorts of things. Scholarship opportunities, I'm on the Dollars for Scholars committee. I did start out as a liaison, but I feel like a full member now. So, which is great. I don't mind. I love it. It's wonderful. I keep track of the scholarship opportunities and I post them on our Career Center website. I do class presentations to seniors specifically for scholarships to get them motivated and get them out there. And they don't realize that, you know, the scholarships are still coming in. I just got 4 more emails of scholarships, so I'll be posting that out on the Career Center website. We went to SCORE a couple of years ago from Naviance. This is primarily for the school counselors, but the part of it that I use is I schedule the college visits and the college and trade fair and that sort of thing. So I do use a portion of it as well. Volunteering in community events, I'm not going to go through that whole list. The community is starting to realize that we have a high school of about 1,800 kids. So, you know, and many of them are employment potential or volunteer potential. So I'm getting emails and flyers in the mail about opportunities for students to participate in community events or volunteering. Even in our own district, sometimes teachers will, from the elementary schools, will email me. They're looking for students to volunteer for some of their events. Again, part-time and full-time employment. I've gotten a lot more full-time employment than I usually do advertises because they're looking for high school graduates who may not be going on to college or might be going to OCC part-time or living home, and there's full-time opportunities for them as well. Classroom workshops and presentations, this has definitely grown for me. I'm going into a lot more classes now and I'm really loving it. Even though this is my 4th year completely out of the classroom, running the Career Center full time, I still get an opportunity to teach, which is my first love. So I do a ton of career exploration with individuals and classroom and in a classroom environment. The Career Center intro and services, a lot of teachers in the beginning of the semester or the beginning of the school year will come down to the Career Center because we like to see, you know, they like to see where they are. I can't stand it when I hear a kid go, "Where's the Career Center? I don't know where the Career Center is." So I had them come down and I'll just give them a quick spiel about what the Career Center is, the services that I provide. And usually I get a really great feedback from that. Cover letter and resume is big. I'm working with Allison Salisbury in her Adulting 101 class. I'm also working with some of the humanities classes, and we're doing also interviewing. I'm helping them with interviewing skills and mock interviews. So that seems to be going really well. Social media presence and screen management I started doing last year, that I will go into a classroom and just talk to the kids about, you know, social media and screen time, and meaning not just their phones. I mean, now, of course, it's kind of funny because we're all on Chromebooks now. So, you know, managing that and like, don't use your screen time, but you're on your Chromebook, got to do homework. But it's, you know, just for them to, you know, get an idea, to be more aware of how often they're on, you know, any type of social media platform or video gaming or, you know, binge watching Netflix and things like that. Taxes, personal finance, and filing a tax return. I love doing that because kids are just, they actually listen and they're just amazed at the taxes that we have to pay and all the adult responsibilities that we have in filing a tax return. So lots of questions there. So that keeps me on my toes. I collaborate with the health services I do health services panels, and Mrs. Segru has participated on that for a few times for me, which has been wonderful. We have a class on our family and consumer science, which is health and human services. And so what I do is I've been putting together panels of different health care or health services areas. The panelists come in, they speak to the students, And I think it's gone very, very well. So I think you've done it twice now, right? Yeah, it's gone very, very well. So thank you for doing that. Career Center Consortium, I belong to a consortium and has expanded into Fulton and Oswego. We have a lady from Groton Central School District who's joined us. We meet 4 times a year, but we collaborate with one another. We give each other ideas and support, and we do virtual career presentations. We have many occupations that we can't do job shadows in. They won't take a high school student. So what we try to do is find those professionals to at least, come into one of the schools, give a presentation, and then we share the links with everybody. And so other schools can chime in. So we all take turns doing that. Special needs students, I work a lot with Karen Hurry's class at the high school. We just do fun things. I try to work in a little bit of, educational things of motor skills and, problem solving and things like that. But we do a bunch of different things of coloring and creating and game day and bubble blowing outside. So that's really fun. I volunteer in the building as well. That's just part of what I do. I've taken students, so far it's become a routine. OCC has an open house for students in the fall in October. So I've been taking a busload of students there. They do a really great job helping the students with that whole process. So that's really, really great. We went to the Skilled Trades Fair at West Genesee High School. I took 22 students to that. That was phenomenal. CC always does a great job with that. There's everybody you can think of that is there. They had the masons, actually, they had them doing the brick and the cement and we got to hammer nails and so it was really great. SUNY Oswego, I do partner up with other teachers and we went, Mrs. Keene is world languages teacher. So she was taking students there. So I decided to go with her and that was fun. It was just learning about traveling and studying abroad. Public Safety Career Day, I invite our fire, emergency communications, police, EMTs. They come in for the day during lunches and students are able to talk to them. I actually did 4 shadows out of NAVAC this year. He must have really talked it up to the kids because they were beating down my door that they wanted to do a job shadow. SRC Incorporated, I took 7 students there. That was really phenomenal. They do a wonderful job. I wish I could take more students, but they do limit it because there's several schools there. But it was really great. Just the different things that they showed us and the different backgrounds. And I'm happy to say that their computer engineer is a CNS grad. So that was great. Yeah, so she's offered to come back and talk to our students who are interested in engineering. And there were a few others that work there that said they would absolutely love that to come to CNS and talk. So I'm gaining more guest speakers, which is wonderful. I think that'll be really helpful. And our last field trip I was on was the SU School of Education. We have a club looking into being a teacher. We took students up to this SU School of Education and had a wonderful day. They treated us very nicely. We even got to do meditation and we had lunch and it was very nice. Learned all about the campus and helped the students maneuver that whole process. One way that I know Superintendent Bowles, you wanted me to address how I keep in contact with the parents. I do a lot of parent square blast. Our executive principal, Mrs. Hill, has her newsletter, so I make sure that I have information out there. I update my website almost daily. It's, and a lot of parents now are reaching out on their own to talk to me and I get a lot of referrals. The school counselors, teachers, are really great about referring parents to me to talk to about their students. Anybody have any questions?
I have a few comments. Thank you for this Career Center. As you know, I visited. and see what is happening, which is wonderful. Just a few suggestions. With Micron coming, and I am so happy that you include the trades during the college fair, and thank you for inviting OCM BOCES. They come every year. And I know John Royce has been phenomenal leader in CTE education. OCM BOCES has an open house. I believe it was just last month. And yes, the kids come, but since you do take groups, I think it might be nice that a group of students that are interested, they might not be able to have the transportation or their parents don't have the ability to go, that might be involved, interested in trades. Just something I'm throwing out there. The other thing is that comes up a lot at BOCES is we have seniors. And yes, seniors are either going to college or whatever, but I don't know if they realize that we have adult ed classes at BOCES, that they can come in 8 months, be certified in about 10 areas. And Colleen will tell you that, yes, it costs a little bit, but boy, there are a lot of grants. So those are just 2 things that you might want to look at.
Okay, thank you. I do tell the students about the adult programs if they've missed it, but
They
absolutely.
have open house, I believe it's every Thursday.
Are they in the evening or
No, it's in the afternoon.
in the during the school day or?
Yes, 1 to 3 or something like that. But every
Okay.
Thursday, there's open house, which is not far from us.
No.
It's right over on 7th North.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Yeah, hey, Tom.
Hello. Here we go. Okay. So one thing I was thinking of potentially to help kind of garner some more interest in the job shadows, because I do think it's a great opportunity. And you got 70 this year, which is awesome. But I know you're saying that you're still growing it back slowly from COVID because people tend to be a little bit more shy about those kinds of things. I was thinking maybe one way you could kind of promote the whole program is you could maybe talk or interview people who have done it in the past and kind of share those personal stories with the student bodies so that they can
Okay.
really see what the job shadow is all about.
Okay, so
'Cause-
maybe like on the morning announcements or something?
Yeah,
or
it could be on the morning announcements or like a
Promote the
separate
program?
program or, yeah.
Good idea.
And then another thing I thought I'd mention is I heard a lot of great things about the SRC. I know only 7 people went, but I knew most of them that did go, and they said that it was a great opportunity. And I really liked the idea that you had of, because we can only send a limited amount there, if we can really get people and representatives from SRC to come to CNS, because I think there'd really be a lot of interest. Obviously, STEM fields and the STEM industry as a whole isn't the only thing certainly to go into right now, but there is a lot of interest around it, especially at CNS. So I think there'd be a lot of value in that.
Great, thank you.
No other questions, so thank you.
Great, thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go into committee reports and I'll look to Mr. Thorne on policy.
Thank you, Paul. As I was unable to attend last week's policy committee meeting, I'll ask Mr. Merzio if there was anything of note to report.
Yeah, so at our last policy committee meeting, which we held over Zoom, we finalized going over the remaining policies for our Erie One policy makeover. There were quite a few. I think there were over 45 of them that we went through. And over the past couple of months, we've gone through over, what was it, 300 policies, over 300, 256 policies. So we finalized that process of reviewing those, and we will now be sending that off to Erie One for the policy manual to be rebuilt and sent back for draft review.
Thank you, Mike. Our next policy committee meeting is tentatively being held on June 11th.
Thank you. Dates on legislation? Waiting for the vote, right? Superintendent Bowles.
Thank you. The first thing I want to say is I want to say thank you to one of our bus drivers, Chris Tucci. Was driving a bus last Friday and at 2:45 p.m. witnessed a toddler wandering outside, no shoes, just in his diaper. Called 911 and stayed there with the child until the police came and made sure that the child was safe. And it's acts like this that make us proud for not only our bus drivers, but all of our employees, that when they see something, they act. And I don't know the outcome. I'm still checking with transportation. But again, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to follow up with that driver in the near future. Other things, North Star Athlete of the Week, Kiara Bembry, one of our softball players, went 7.1 innings in a win over Beeville. Girls softball won this game in extra innings, and they played Chittenango, I think, today. Unified basketball had a big win over ESM. Boys baseball beat Oswego on senior day, 14-9. Andrew Davies had a single, a double, a triple, and for those that know baseball, just shy of a cycle if he had a home run. But they beat Central Square 9-2, and then they also beat West Jenny 9-4. Girls lacrosse is outstanding. They beat West Jenny 16-7. Gabby Putman won 14-1 in draws. That's unbelievable. And with 4 goals, Brooke Molchanoff had 2 goals and 4 assists. Elizabeth Smith, Ella Grotto had 2 goals each. Girls flag football had a big win on senior day, 53-7 over SAS. You saw one of our students, Isabella Bort, girls blue golf. She had a 41 on our last match. Jillian Bambino, 47. Abby Hildreth, 48. Boys lacrosse pulled off a 10-9 victory for CNS. And CNS track beat Auburn. Boys were 84-56, girls 98-32. So as you can see, there's a lot going on in the spring, a lot of success, a lot of students participating. So thank you to the board for offering up some additional opportunities to make it possible for more and more of our students to be active and participate. And I think that's all I have.
Hey, thank you. Any Board of Education comments? I'll start with you, Mr. Ludden. You give me the look.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I went first today, because I, first and foremost, for everybody that is here and for all of the folks I'm sure watching at home, just a reminder to vote next Tuesday on the budget. Definitely important to get out and vote. I also just wanted to say thank you to you, Dan, and to all of the administration, because there has been a lot of the opportunities that we've been able to give the board that the administration has been able to put out there, so that our kids have a lot of really good opportunities. And we saw a ton of it today. So thank you to everybody who did that. And as we get to the end of the school year here, I just wanted to say thanks, because there's been a lot of great things to celebrate this year.
Yeah, I just wanted to say congratulations to everybody that partook in the CNS Late Show on Friday night at the junior high school. Show was great. I know Bob was there. I don't know if any of the other board members had a chance to attend, but it was very loud. A lot of, it always amazes me how talented all of our kids are, and the teacher participation is great. The hosts were great. The whole production was really great. So congratulations to everybody who not only performed, but everyone on 4D Productions that put the show on. So just wanted to share that.
Crabtree?
And it starts. I just amazed, as Dan said, of our student body. And I think the senior class this year has been just phenomenal. So I'm going to start with the unified basketball game. This is the very first one that I attended, as Dan said, against ESM. I left there smiling and so happy. I haven't been this happy in a long time. So proud of the coaches that take the time with these students. So proud of the high school, over 100 of them. Some are baseball players, basketball players, field hockey, that come and root on these kids. And they're amazing, the way they make baskets. For each team, just to let you know, there are 3 special needs kids and then 2 high school kids. And I got to tell you, I think the special needs kids do a little bit better than the other. I know they don't have any more home games. They're at Cortland tomorrow, but please, next year, if you want an uplift in your life, go see this. And the gym is packed with parents. So Number two, Adulting 101 class of CNS. This is a class that is taught by one of my former students that went to Bear Road. And it's an interviewing process where each of the students, at which Aaron didn't leave, each of the students has to do a cover letter, just like they were applying for North Syracuse. They have to do a resume. And I interviewed 8, and 7 of them want to be teachers. And I would say that if Jason was here, he would have hired at least 5 of them because they are ready. They're going to college. They're excited about working with students. It's a little role play. I pretend I was administrator. I never would be, but I was administrator and interviewed them with questions that we have used with teachers and administrators here. But my favorite interview was with Caleb, who is in our OCM BOCE skate program. So he's a BOCE student, but he's allowed to take this course. He sat across from me, nice shirt, tie, and he interviewed for a stock job at Home Depot, and he was amazing. What a program to have a kid now that's in 12th grade that years ago wouldn't even gone to our school. So excellent program. And Mrs. Salisbury, if you're listening, I'm very, very proud of you. History fair. Mr. Bowles went around to both the Roxborough Road Middle and Gillette Road Middle School. Thank you to Lisa Goldberg. I'm sure she had a lot to do with this. We've had science fairs and math fairs, but now we had a history fair. I don't know how many of you know about Ruby Bridges. I don't know anything about Ruby Bridges, but Addison did a project. She was the first Black to go to an elementary school during segregation. We've heard about Rosa Parks and others, but I never heard about Ruby Bridges. Look it up. King Tut's tomb, you know, all dressed up with their outfits and so forth. Henry VIII, with his wives and what happened with his wives. And as you know, that's coming to the landmark. Just wonderful projects. So proud of this district and what's happening. Thank you.
If I may just add one other shout out, Eileen Gleason. I know Lisa runs the social studies department, but it started with an idea from Mrs. Gleason at Gillette Road, and it has just blossomed and flourished. So again, congratulations to everyone at the history fair. It's wonderful.
Thank you. Thomas, comments?
Yes, I've got a few tonight. First of all, I just wanted to mention, just as Mr. Marizio did, the 3rd annual CNS Late Show was a huge success coming into school today. Seemed like the teachers were talking about just as much as the students. There was a lot of fun to be had with that, a lot of talent shown in there. I feel like it really shows all the creativity in our community, which with the events that we have, you know, they're usually for very specific things, but at something like the CNS Late Show, you really get to see all the different dimensions that are within our community. Another thing I wanted to say about the history fair that we have, I think that it's a wonderful thing. I feel like these past couple decades, especially these past 10 years, public schooling has definitely leaned more towards STEM-based careers and classes. And I think that STEM is very important, but we also can't forget or neglect the humanities. And I think it's great that we're kind of putting them next to each other instead of putting one above the other. One last thing that I didn't mention during the Career Center presentation, I've forgotten to mention it, was the case of special needs students in regards to like the Career Center and career opportunities. I feel like it's important to show both to the students and maybe even the parents that there is a role for many of these students in the workforce. And yeah, all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
One more quick, but we do have a celebrity in our midst. And again, to recognize Thomas Wills, because the Presidential Scholar Award is it is one of 6 in New York State. There are probably 6,000 individuals that initially enrolled, and he is one of our students in North Syracuse, and he has something signed by the president right there. So again, round of applause for Thomas.
Right, Thomas.
Thank you.
Remember us all someday, Thomas. We'll be here. I could get a motion, please, for item A, the approval of the minutes of the May 6th meeting. Motion from Mr. Crabtree, second from Dr. Kramer. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. And a motion, please, for B, C, and D. Motion from Dr. Kramer, second from Mr. Ludden. The consideration of classification of stable students in school, preschool, and or home instruction. So B, C, and D are before us. Any discussion? None, all in favor? Opposed, those are carried. And a motion, please, to accept the declaration of marketable but non-marketable goods. Mr. Brizio, second from Mr. Thorne. Any discussion? A lot of science goodies in there this year, this week. Being none, all in favor? Opposed, that is carried. And we have acknowledgement of gifts. I'll take A, B, and C together if I get a motion. Motion from Ms. Zagru, second from Mr. Ludden. We have gifts from RIT for Project Lead the Way. We have a gift, the grant from NSCF along with Micron Technology. Cryptobanasis for staff, I'm sorry. Item B. So A, B, and C are before us. Any discussion? Yes, sir.
I just wanted to say thanks to Mike Ryan and the NSCF for really helping us out for quite a nice gift that they're giving us to make sure that chip camp can happen.
Other comments? All in favor? Opposed, and those are carried. Thank you. Just acknowledgement of some retirements. Got a lot of years in here for just 3 people. We have Constance Taros, junior high school principal, retiring with 50.2 years of service. I don't think I've ever read a number like that. Sandra Barbado, food service helper, retires with 11 years of service, and Kelly Miller, TA, teaching assistant, 39 years of service, which is impressive. So wish them all a long and healthy retirement. Special shout out, well, to all of them, but to Mr. Rose, because that's quite a significant career here in North Syracuse. Instructional personnel report A, a motion placed that before us. Motion, Mr. Thorne, second from Dr. Kramer. Any discussion?
Say, Kelly Miller, I worked with her, and that is amazing, Paul, 39 years of service. And she worked in quite a few buildings, but always the kids came first. And then also to my friend Connie Taros, who I've known for almost all those years. She came in the district the same time I did as a science teacher at Gillette, and later became principal. She is the 3rd principal to be at the junior high since it became junior high. And the other thing is, just a quick story. She also involved with the Science Olympiad, and she brought me in as a judge for the egg drop. I won't go into that.
In there. Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. And support staff B, personnel report B, moved by Mr. Ludden, second by Mr. Maurizio. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. And administrative personnel report C, motion Mr. Crabtree, second from Dr. Kramer. Any motion? Seeing none or discussion, all in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. Thank you. I'll make a motion for executive session. The purpose of reviewing one item under negotiations with no action to follow. Motion from Mr. Ludden, second from Ms. Zagru. Any discussion? Comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? That is carried. A motion for adjournment. Mr. Maurizio, second from Mr. Thorne. All in favor? Opposed? And we are adjourned at 7 o'clock.